Good time.
So thank you, Prabhuji. So I'm sure everyone of us, we know VP Govinda Prabhu. He has been with us for many years, and he's also my Bhakti Vedanta classmate. So we have been traveling this spiritual journey for last few years since we started Bhakti Vaibhav. Also, I was associating with him for some time in between. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for accepting our request to take us through the journey of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu. Now he is coming back to Jagannath Puri. So we're all very keen to know what's happening there with Lord Chaitanya Prabhu and his devotees. So over to you, Prabhu. Please take us
Hare
through.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danvat pranams. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu, perfect.
Hare Ram. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Danvat pranams to everyone. And like Prabhuji said, been there for a while. Recently, I have relocated and been traveling back and forth between London and Sanatan Dham here in Saudi. So a bit rusty, but whenever I could, if I wasn't in somewhere where I couldn't attend the sessions, it's a pleasure to be in the association of the devotees and try not to miss if I can't. And is the mercy itself which Prabhuji requests me to serve. I think most of you, if not all, have already completed Chaitanya Charitamrta and know a lot more than me. So I hope I will get something out of it today. And if I could do the service. So let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Gadadhar Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Why, I have been given, and I was there last week as well. So great to hear from Prabhuji. Prabhuji discussed a lot of things there. Hare Krishna. I was just chatting. Prabhuji, well, let's have a brief, and we will. Prabhuji, if you could allow me to share the screen, please. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So my screen is coming up. Hope everyone could see.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the confirmation. So what we have here, so with Chaitanya Charitamrita, we doing the Madhya Leela, which is right in the middle. And within that, we have a lot of chapters, 25 chapters. And we are on 9th chapter, where Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji travels to holy places. And there, if you go further, well, one thing here, when I was reading it and been following here devotees as well, that this is the time where after this, so chapter 9, after this, chapter 10, if you remember, Lord Chaitanya will come back to Jagannath Puri. After that, Lord Chaitanya most of the time will be there in Puri. We'll go out in Vrindavan and Varanasi as well, Kashi. But the South India, the famous tour of South India, will kind of wrap up in this chapter 9 before Jagannath Puri Yatra will start, which is another nectarian point. And even here, we will see in chapter 9. And this is where we've been discussing. So 351. So Prabhuji did 350, 350, where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ji was there. And now we are going to move forward from 351. right? But what we have seen so far is a lot of devotees. And before we go any further, so I know different devotees do it different times. I do the Mangalacharan right in the beginning. So let's do the Mangalacharan, and feel free to join me. As we always say, it's not just for the speaker, it's for everyone. But after that, we shall start, and whatever I could understand. Otherwise, Prabhupada has given such a nectarian grantha, we'll just try to share. So we'll just do the Mangalacharan, seek the blessings of everyone, and then I'll try to churn a bit more on Chaitanya Chait. Om. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानजनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवै नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथवितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सवादूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखावितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री गुरुदेव महाराज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय श्री राधे श्याम। Hare Krishna. Thank you so much again for having me. It is very purifying while you prepare. One thing I would like to clarify: in the beginning, I was stretching Om, and as most of you, if not all, would know that I'm there from London, and we have Bhaktivedanta Manor. I used to attend, so we used to do a lot of services. One of the service was with kids, and run the adult sessions, hospitality, and the kids sessions. In the kids session, we have a great devotee there who learned everything from Vrindavan, Gokul. And then he was in the Gurukul as well. He was traveling, and he'd been associated with ISKCON since childhood. So imagine if you've been there, Bhaktivedanta Manor, a big hall and Lordship there right at the front of you, but a lot of kids are there and they're chatting, they're running around, and the Mangalacharan will start, and he will have a very long Om. Now, I spoke to him once, and he said, by the time we start Mangalacharan, we say Om Ajnana. He says, if I have a lot of time in Om, and I think this is a technique he learned back in Gurukul, that it attracts everyone's attention while we're doing Om. And by the time we start Mangalacharan, everyone's attention is back there with him. So a great way of doing it. So currently I'm here in Sanatandam, but while I'm there in London, and I'm doing whatever the services we run, and if it's online, and if I'm just alone, the kids are there roaming around, wife might be there in the kitchen. But when we do Om, by the time Om is finishing, all the family members will gather together, and rest of the Mangalacharan will be together as a family. And a lot of devotees have said it, that when family members come together for Mangalacharan, it's a great feeling to have it. And I can say personally as well. So I just thought I'll let you know, if in case somebody might think why I'm stretching Om, because I know a lot of devotees, they don't. And sometimes people get a bit upset why we are doing things different. So I just thought I will clarify myself. So coming back to Chaitanya Charitamrta, what we've been doing, we have we're doing chapter 9, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji travels to the holy places, and after that he's going to return back to Jagannath Puri. This so Lord Chaitanya has just visited or visiting the temple of Lord Jagannath, and a lot of devotees been mentioned in the last. It was very nectarian to hear from Prabhuji, the way Prabhuji narrated the pastime. I don't think I can do such a justice, because you've got to have such a bhakti in your heart, which definitely I lack. I completely feel for it. But so a lot of devotees, obviously Nityananda Prabhuji there, Jagananda is there, Damodar Panditji, Mukunda, then Gopinath Acharya will come, or did come in the previous verses. Kashi Mishra ji is there. Right at the end in 350, so we are going to start from 351 today, but from 350, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ji got introduced. So he's there. He invited Lord Chaitanya to his place for the lunch. We shall start afterwards. So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, text 351. In 350, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji has been invited to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house for lunch. So now we will follow from there. And excuse me for my Bengali. My Sanskrit is not that great either, but Bengali is even more. So especially I always I'll try to remember to ask for forgiveness from all the Bengali devotees, because the way they pronounce it, I really wish I could, because it's so great to hear, and it's somebody's mother tongue, and when I do it in broken, it's pretty bad. But forgive me. I'm just going to give the attempt, because I guess that's how we get better and better. So text 351, it says, Divya Mahaprasada Aneka Anaila Petha Ana Adi Jagannatha Yekhaila. So translation, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Jai. So it says that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya brought various types of food remnants that had been left by Lord Jagannath. He brought all kinds of cakes and condensed milk preparations. So remember, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ji was there in Jagannath Puri, and Lord Chaitanya has just joined him. So he just got the prasad from the temple for his house at lunch as well. Now, when we're going forward, we see what happens. That text 352, Madhyahana Karila Prabhu Nija Gana Lana Sarva Bhoma Gare Bhaiksha Karila Asya. Accompanied by all his associates, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house and took his noon lunch there. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not alone. He's there with others, which is great. all those devotees we mentioned, they are there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. Text 353, Bhiksha Karina Tana Kare Lasayana Apna Sarva Bhoma Kare Pada Samvahana. After offering food to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made him lie down to rest, and he personally began to massage the legs of the Lord. Prabhu tanera pathela bhojana karita, se ratre tane ghara rahila tan raprita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sent Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to take his lunch, and the Lord remained that night in his home just to please him. Sarvabhauma sange are lana nijagana, tirtha yatra katha kahe kaila jagarana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates remained with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. They all stayed awake the entire night as the Lord spoke of his pilgrimage. Prabhu kahe eta kitha kaila payathana, Toma sama Vaishnava nahe dekhilum eka jana. The Lord told Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I have traveled to many holy places, but I could not find a Vaishnava as good as you anywhere. Eka Ramanandaraya Bahu Sukha Daila Bhata Kahe Elage Milit Kahela. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I received much pleasure from the talks of Ramananda Roy. Purport? The Bhattacharya replied, for this reason, I requested that you meet him. In the Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya, beginning of the 8th act, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Sarvabhauma, I have traveled to many holy places, but I cannot find a Vaishnava as good as you anywhere. However, I must admit that Ramananda Roy is wonderful. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replies, therefore, my Lord, I requested that you see him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then says, there are, of course, many Vaishnavas in these holy places, and most of them worship Lord Narayan. Others who are called Tattvavadis are also Lakshmi Narayana worships, but they do not belong to pure Vaishnava cult. There are many worshippers of Lord Shiva, and there are also many atheists. Regardless, my dear Bhattacharya, I'm very much like Ramananda Rai and his opinions. 358. Tirtha yatra katha e khelum sampana, sanksheya kahilum vistara na yaya varana. Thus, I have ended my narration about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pilgrimage. Describing it in brief, it cannot be described very broadly. So this is the author who said that even though it's not possible, but here we're going to end the narration of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you just take a step back, so it's a personal thing, but as usually I say, I might have said it before, I'm sure, that whenever I go through, I try to take the extract out how this can change my life on a daily basis, what I could extract. And while I was reading it, and it's not only these verses. So from Manna, our His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj explained once that what Lord said is there in Bhagavad Gita. So if somebody would like to hear what Lord Krishna said, then refer Bhagavad Gita. If you would like to understand the Lord, then pick Srimad Bhagavatam. But if you would like to see and understand how devotees interact with each other, and because obviously Lord Krishna came down as a devotee in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. So consider Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji as a devotee as well. So how Lord's devotees interact with each other, that's there in Chaitanya Charitamrta. And I think if we see here how Lord is there with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ji, then if you are here, then it says, of course, the whole entire night, Lord was there, the devotees were there, and they were doing the kirtan. And this is not new. Even in past times, we have seen the Lord used to do that. But here, while I was reading it, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sent Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to take his lunch. And after that, the Lord remained that night in his home. But why? Just to please him. So this is coming from Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instruction, where it says how devotees interact with each other and what do they exchange with each other. But the whole idea is whenever we meet, we share the pastimes of the Lord. But the whole purpose is that it, of course, not only that it cleanses, but it purifies us and it pleases each other. So all the devotees, like someone said that, I just mentioned His Holiness Swam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj Ji. So a resident monk in Manor, been there for, I think, 20 plus years now. And lucky enough, we were there together. And I've seen Maharaj Ji growing into sannyasa. He was very much dedicated at Manor, which he still is. But after sannyasa, he's a wandering monk. He doesn't stay at one place. And while we were discussing something, this comes from the Vedic culture, that wandering monk, they stay at one ashram not for long. And if as more, and we will see one of the verses before, and you might notice I have YouTube open as well. I was listening to a lecture by Guru Maharaj Ji, and in that Guru Maharaj Ji mentioned Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Ji, and how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ji met the very first time, and the Atmaram verse came into picture. And then the Guru Maharaj Ji was giving the explanation of that verse and what we can learn from it. And I got that verse open as well. And I thought it might be interesting to, I think we have done it before, but maybe if we do that again a bit, it might be interesting. It's definitely interesting what we can learn out of it. Again, the Shishtachar, how devotees interact with each other, one of the best things to do. And at this point, maybe, like what Ramanand Kanai Prabhuji mentioned, that we are doing a Bhakti Vedanta course together. And just a realization from our teacher, who is, of course, very much elevated than, well, let's say me, for sure. One of the question was asked, and while we, so this is what I do, I don't know if anyone else get benefit out of it, but while we read the scriptures, if the scriptures are not cleansing our consciousness, if our bhakti is not getting fortified, like getting a bit better, then of course, the only benefit we are getting is that we are taking the name of the Lord. But I think it's passive. We are taking the name of the Lord, hoping the name of the Lord will cleanse us, which of course it will, but that's passive. We are not involved in it. We are just completely reliant on the Lord's name, which is great, and it will deliver. But maybe if you are active in that participation, then we will get better. Believe it. But a question was asked, and the question was on that Bhaktivedanta teacher, Bhaktivedanta student, they both are great. So the question was that we have, and I'm sure because most of the guys here, most of the devotees are preachers, I'm sure in one form or shape, either you have asked this question, you have thought of this question, or somebody asked this from you, which is that there is a Gurukul in, well, there are lots of Gurukuls in ISKCON, Hare Krishna movement. There are a few in UK as well. Now, one of the students said that somebody, so he's a preacher, somebody he preaches in the congregation asked that my child is there in the Gurukul, but I don't think he's getting prepared for the future life, let's say for the university. Don't think he is very well getting prepared for the university. And I'm paraphrasing what I understood. Then the student asked that, should I leave? Should I advise this parent for the student to come out? That, okay, take your child. If you think your child is not there, getting prepared for the university, then take him or her out. What should I advise? And then, of course, we have heard in the past a lot of things. So let's say the caveat that it's true that not all the Gurukuls will prepare students in Gurukul to be ready for the world-class universities, whether it's Cambridge, Oxford, or IIT in India. So what should we advise? And at this point, I would like to open the forum to everyone. I would like to hear from you. And then I will share what our teacher shared with us. And Ramanan Kanai Prabhuji. And I'm sure some other devotees were there as well. And I was thrilled by how the conversation ended. But there are 20 devotees here. What would you advise if somebody will ask that? What we should do? What would you advise to a parent who thinks, who believes, and we are giving the caveat that that's true, that if your child goes to attends regular in Hare Krishna ISKCON Gurukul, then the child might not be ready for the world-class or national or international universities. What do you think? Anybody would like to share anything on it? Or have you thought about it? Or has anyone asked you about it? The reason I said that in one shape or form, because it's Gurukul, but I'm sure it's not just the Gurukul. Many other people, they refer to the temple as well, pick few things here and there. Like once I was in India and on a very short trip, and somebody said to me, well, yeah, I know you are associated with and because the person knew that I'm coming from London, they said, well, yeah, all the money from India, ISKCON temple, they go outside India. Where? We don't know. Because I asked it, I said, okay, so where all that money goes to? Do you know? UK, London, France. And the person didn't have, of course. I mean, feel compassion for these, and I always say devotees, because at least they are engaged, they are listening about Krishna, but didn't have. So one form or another, people try to pick faults, and there are faults. I mean, my reply is always, we have a family of 4, and we pick faults in each other. So imagine a family of like 400,000 people all over the world. Do you think we all are perfect? Not at all. We call each other practicing devotees. We are sadhakas. We are just trying to do our best. All the devotees are best at what they do? Maybe not, but we are just trying. Would you like to join? and people kind of submissive after that. So any thoughts on that? What would you reply to such a devotee? Nope. No one? Okay. All right. So we'll move on. I will share what Prabhuji shared with us. So what Prabhuji said that yes, that might be true. The very first thing, acceptance, not denial. That might be true, and that if you will go to Gurukul, you might get spiritually advanced, but materially, you might not be prepared to become a CEO of a company. You might not able to get admission to such a great university. So the very first thing is acceptance, if that's true. If that's true, and some of the Gurukuls what we have heard across, that might be true. So this is again my understanding, my perception. That might be true, might not be true. But interesting thing what followed. Prabhuji, I think he's our teacher. He opened his heart and what he said, and I think that this applies to all of us. And this was probably the biggest takeaway from yesterday's session, yesterday's class at Bhaktivedanta. That and there is a saying in UK, very famously, somebody said it during World War II, that don't say what the country do for you. Think what you would do for country. So in one sentence, this is where the conversation ended, which was that, of course, we try to find out what the Hare Krishna movement will do for you, what the Gurukul will do for you. But you are such great devotees here. A lot of, or most of us materially advanced, right? Is spiritually very well situated. Shouldn't we ask ourselves what we should do if the temple's quality is not good, if the Gurukul's quality is not good, what we can do, either directly or indirectly or in any respect, because Krishna has given the skills in one form or another to all of us. Somebody could do the kirtan and somebody could do the prasadam, somebody could do the lectures, and that's how Srila Prabhupada involved everyone. Irrespective of what skills, what background somebody comes up, Prabhupada picked up what this person is good at in service and engage that person. So how we can engage ourselves. And one more thing Prabhuji said, and that made me do something, and I will share that as well, because it's very meaningful right at this moment, that Prabhuji said that, think of this. Then he obviously made a broad statement, but after that he said that, think of this sessions we are doing personally, and again, my understanding, I'm paraphrasing, that's it's kind of disrespectful that I'm delivering the sessions. I'm of course doing a service, but most of the devotees, students, they have their cameras off, and there were like 30 there. And only when I started counting, because unfortunately my camera was off at that moment. But when I counted, there were only 12 out of 30. There were only 12 cameras which were on, excluding Prabhuji. So including Prabhuji 13, and then I switched on my camera as well for the rest of the period. But sometimes, for some reasons, we do switch off the cameras, which is okay. But what he said, that, and of course he went further in detail, but I just thought I will share that, because what we are listening here in Caitanya Caritamrta is very close to what it says here, just to please him, right? So the Lord is doing something for the devotee just to please him. What we can do among devotees to please each other, of course, is spiritually. And again, coming back to what Keshav Maharaj said, that Caitanya Charitamrita, in one sentence, teaches us, of course, provides us the information, how devotees interact with each other. But once we have that information, like the difference between information and, the knowledge and wisdom. So information is the knowledge. We know about it. But the wisdom is, with that knowledge, what decisions we make in our life, right? A material example, somebody knows drinking, smoking is bad for health. It says right on the big packet. That's a knowledge. The person is knowledgeable. Person knows about it. Person is aware. But the wisdom is what decision the person makes after that. And I think most of the time that's the problem. Not that we don't know what's good or bad. The problem is whether we have control on our senses to take that, transform that knowledge to that wisdom so we can take. So this is one of those things I really appreciated, that how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a Mayavadi. And then in that Atmaram verse, which Guru Maharaj was explaining in this verse, that the Lord himself is trying to please him. The whole idea he's there is that he's pleasing him and he's pleasing other devotees. And now, why? To awake the entire night just to do the kirtan. And this is someone who was a Mayavadi before. And just in one sentence, without going into detail, I did Bhakti Shastri from Manna. One of our teachers there, who is again a great devotee, I think 30 odd years in the movement, he said, and I spoke to him later, he said, in one respect, and this is, I'm paraphrasing, I'm quoting exact words. He said, in one sense, most of the devotees in Hare Krishna movement are Mayavadis until they become pure devotee. So of course we have Kanishta, Madhya and pure, the Uttamadhikari. So he did say in another lecture that most of us are Madhya Adhikari. But he said that most of us are Mayavadis in some respect until we become Uttamadhikari pure. So all the Maharajis, they are excluded. All the maybe super senior devotees, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they are excluded. But otherwise, he put all of them there. And when I spoke to him later, I said, why did you say that? Because of course, the whole parampara is against Mayavadi. So why did you say that? And he said, I said, in some respect. And in some respect means that we still have I in us. We still have I. So one of the main differences, so we say the Lord is there, personification. Lord is there in person, and the Mayavadis will say, well, you could become Lord, right? Which means you can realize God, Satchitananda. Because we all have I in us, right? We still have that I. He said that 30 years later, when somebody praises me, then I feel good. And that really resonated with me, because I do feel the same, that as long as I'm happy, I get happiness when somebody praises me, definitely something is wrong. Definitely there is that scope of improvement where we should think that we need to do more. Whatever we are doing is not enough. We need to move ahead with a little. And reading these verses, how Lord Chaitanya is going forward. And maybe, so Atmaram verse, I'm sure, so just maybe a few more minutes. In the Atmaram verse, 1:7:10, and this is the verse where Guru Maharaj was discussing and he explained. And I'm sure we know this Atmaram verse where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he started, he gave 9 different explanations, but then Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji came and he made it clear later. So, well, very quickly, I will read the translation, and then from the pulpit, few points, and then maybe we will conclude. Suta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atmarams, those who take pleasures in Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization through freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service onto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. So I think the reason, or one of the reasons this is called Atmarama, everything is there in it. If you think about Upanishad, they all talk about self-realization, not only Upanishads. So Adi Shankaracharya ji, of course, propagated or re-established Vedas, Upanishads mainly. But even before that, if you say Buddhists, they all focused not on Upanishads, but on self-realization and liberations, right? How you could do it, that's a different process. But this says that if you would like Atma, self-realize, which is what we are, that's the true identity of us, on the path of self-realization. But how? Through freed from all kind of material bondage. This is what all the devotees would like to do. But why? Why we would like to get self-realization? How to get self-realization once we will get out of all the bondages? The whole reason is because we know once we are clean enough, then we can enter the Lord's house. And the example is the analogy when the kids go out for the football, when they come out, the mother will stop right there. Could you please clean yourself before you come into the house? And of course, the analogy could be extended that mother sometimes will take dirty child in. Okay, I will clean you. And this is what Srila Prabhupada on behalf of and other devotees, senior devotees, they do it. But why do we do? Because we have that desire to render unalloyed. And what he said, coming back to Bhakti Shastri teacher, where he said, in some respect, our devotional services is still not unalloyed. And well, I think we all should judge ourselves. Is that not true? Don't we still ask Lord for a lot of things? Unalloyed, I guess, is when we don't ask for anything. Of course, we ask for the family members, if the family members will stay with us, because we would like to serve them. If the spiritual master, like Ramananda Kanai Prabhuji shared very well, that once asked Guru Maharaj Ji that I would like you to be my guru in the next birth as well. And Guru Maharaj Ji chastised him, saying that, really, do you want me to come back again? So I think when every time we request Lord, that Lord, please keep our Guru Maharaj Ji longer in this material world, which we consider, like what Srila Prabhupada Ji said, consider this as a toilet. You go there, finish your business and come back. We devotees, for our own benefit, say that we would like to keep Guru Maharaj Ji in this material world for our own benefit. Is this alloyed or unalloyed? I will leave it to interpretation, how we would like to interpret, how we would like to understand. But what my understanding, having spoken to my teacher in Bhakti Shastri, was that when we say unalloyed, it's unalloyed of everything, material or spiritual. And then I said, spiritual as well. Then he said, well, actually, everything we think is spiritually is actually disguise of material. What does that mean? That means we think it's a spiritual, but it's not a spiritual. Underneath it, there is material desire in it. Whether we say we would like to be in the association of some devotees, even though devotees leaving the body to go back to the Lord, what we say, Lord, I understand it's good for the devotee to come back to you compared to staying with me, but for my own benefit, I would like to hold on to devotee. Even though I know it's better for devotee to go back to you. but I would like to hold on to the devotee for my own benefit. Is this a spiritual or material? That's what Prabhuji kind of explained. So I thought it's really great. The last point here, and there are lots and lots of things there. And as I said, I'm sure we have done it before. But regarding the Atma, because almost now, except Buddhism, Vedic culture, if you think about, everyone aligns on one thing, which is Atma, that we are Atma. We are spirit, soul, we are not the material body. And then it says, there are seven synonyms. Synonyms is the similar word, which is the first is Brahman, Upanishads, the body, because that's what sometimes people think. Who am I? I'm the body. No, I'm not the body. I'm mind. These days, modern psychologists, they started doing it. Endeavor, karma yogi, endurance, and then, of course, intelligence. Buddhi is me. Personal habits, 7 habits of 7 effective habits of a successful person. There's a very famous book in the West, very material. But I think it could become spiritual if you have those 7 habits spiritually. Anyone would know the difference between endeavor and endurance? I will end here because I mentioned about passive and active before in this session. So when we say endeavor, it's active. Endeavor is the efforts we do to achieve a goal. That's endeavor. So all those things we are doing, we would like to go to the temple, and anything new we are starting, we do the hard work. That's endeavor. That's very, very active effort from our point of view. But on the other side, endurance is to sustain it. Like once somebody said that, well, I will start 16 mala from tomorrow. That's endeavor. It will be great effort to do that. But then the teacher said, whoa, don't rush. Take it easy. Because we are not only looking for endeavor, we are looking for the endurance as well. Will you able to sustain 16 manas from tomorrow for rest of your time? So we need to work for both endeavors and endurance. Few people, they consider karma yoga endeavor of our effort. Some says, well, whether we can do more or we can do less, it's better to do what we can sustain forever. Now, where we were in here, and this is maybe for the benefit of the next speaker, the next session, where we ended is, all right, okay. Thus, I have ended my narration about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji's pilgrimage, describing it in brief. It cannot be described very broadly. So whatever we endeavor trying to explain and try to understand, I guess, is always going to fall into that category. We can only briefly discuss, but and of course, based on the experience, realization, and the background, and what the Buddhi Krishna has given, we could only do enough. But so we've completed 358 and 359, where we will see what happens. Well, a bit more on the elaboration on 358 will come later. So thank you so much for bearing with me, providing me some space, and I hope I didn't offend anyone. I try to keep my words as honest as possible, but sometimes I understand it might not align with everyone. So my apologies if I hurt anyone. And thank you again for providing the time. So I'm happy to take any discussion points if we have before we conclude. Anyone who would like to correct me for anything, feel free, please.
Thank you very much, VP Govinda Prabhu, for wonderfully taking us through the conclusion of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu's South India tour. So interestingly, if you see, his tour started with a meeting just before Lord Chaitanya Prabhu's tour to South India started. He met Saurabh Bhattacharya and he had a very detailed discussion, as you were just mentioning about Atmarama's verse. So, interestingly, we see now we just concluded Lord Chaitanya Prabhu saying that during my South India tour, my whole tour, I never seen a pure Vaishnava like you. And then immediately next verse, he said Ramananda Raya. He referred Ramananda Raya. If you see, very nice correlation of the whole pastime. Actually, the purpose, one of the purposes of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu's visit to South India is to meet Ramananda Raya. So this has been explained by many acharyas in the past. So, but he wanted to meet Ramananda Raya through Sauram Bhattacharya. So that's the reason why Sauram Bhattacharya was delivered first, because he was a kind of a Mayavadi. So he was talking something differently. His understanding was at a different level. So Lord Chandrababu had to correct him first, then sat with him, discussed for many days, then transformed him into a pure devotee. Then he connected Lord to Ramananda Raya. So that was the whole purpose of Lord's initial discussion before he travels to South India tour. His initial discussion with Sauram Bhattacharya. Sauram Bhattacharya became purified. Then he is a very kind of a very authentic spiritual master. So he not only guided King Prataprudra, and also he connected Ramananda Raya to Lord Chaitanya Prabhu. So that was actually a wonderful relation of even what Lord has said, that you are the I never met any Vaishnava like you. Why? Because the actually internal meaning, what we understand is that because you connected me to Ramananda Raya. So Lord actually is happy. Very beautiful lesson we get from this is Lord is very happy when we do the preaching and connect the devotees to the Lord. So when we connect devotees to the Lord, Lord becomes very happy. As we see now that Sauramacharya has connected Ramananda Raya to Lord Chaitanya Prabhu. So there, so that actually made Lord more happy. And Lord, just because of that, if you see in just now, as you said, that Lord told Sauramacharya, I have traveled to many holy places, but I could not find a Vaishnava as good as you anywhere. Why? Because in the next, immediately next verse, he concludes that I received much pleasure from the talks of Ramananda Raya. So actually, he is telling, because you connected me to Ramananda Raya, you are a pure Vaishnava. So that is actually, the Lord is reminding us that what is our role. So Lord wants us to spread this movement to everyone, to bring everyone to this movement, so that that makes Lord happy. So as Lord Chaitanya Prabhu was happy discussing with Raman Raya, so he will also be happy with us when we connect others to the Supreme Lord and to the Parampara. Thank you, Prabhu. It is a very nice session, and actually hearing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu. I just go a couple of verses ahead where you stopped, where Falastuti was mentioned, that whoever hears his pilgrimage to various holy places attains the riches of very deep ecstatic love. So we have been discussing and hearing about this Lord Chaitanya Prabhu's South India pilgrimage, and that will actually awaken our deep love towards Krishna. So then Krishna Devaraj Swami says that what should be the mood? We have been hearing about these pastimes for so many years, not so many years, at least so many months and so many weeks. We have been hearing about Lord Chaitanya Prabhu's, because now it's more than 350, 360 slokas we heard in this chapter. So what should be the mood? That is very important. When we discuss the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu, what should be our mood is what author is mentioning. He says that here the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu with a faith and devotion. Giving up envy of the Lord, everyone chant the Lord's holy name, Hari. So this should be the mood of whenever we hear, we have been hearing from so many great Vaishnavas, including today, His Grace VP Govinda Prabhu nicely explained. So our mood always should be not that, oh, when class will be finished, when I can go back and do my other materialistic activities, but our mood should be like what author is saying here, that should be with a faith and devotion. Then actually the transformation starts happening, both for the preacher as well as the listener. So the small relation which I wanted to share.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for all the points and very well picked up. Thank you for that. Indeed, it is the mood and the consciousness we purify. Thank you. So,
Hare Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Just appreciation to Govind Prabhu. Prabhuji, whenever I hear your class, you touch that base, that is the good part, that you tell that where you are, what is your presence now, where you are. You touch base that. Please keep doing that, Prabhu. Because you tell, we have 15 years we are here in this devotion, but we don't go back and rejuvenate. There is a word called rejuvenate. We should always rejuvenate. We should touch that rejuvenate, that word, Prabhu. I appreciate, Prabhu. You always keep touching that. Keep doing that, Prabhu. Otherwise, lust, anger, pride, envy, false ego, it always grows, as you get promoted, or you in the material life and everywhere. In spiritual also you grow. But we should rejuvenate, Prabhu. That is what with folded hands, I beg you, always keep touching that so that it will tell us where you are at this moment. Thank you, Prabhu. Arkid Prabhu, thank you for giving Govind Prabhu the chance. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for confirming that. And this is the reason I always feel, I hope I'm not offending any devotee, because obviously if somebody had been there for 15 or 30 years, then just to say that, could you please go back and recalibrate yourself? Could you please check yourself? Which we all should do all the time. When we are there following the GPS, we always should check that we are on track. I know we are progressing, we are moving forward, but we're on the track. Like somebody said, the difference between manager and leader is, manager will say, keep progressing, we are progressing. But the leader will go on the top and find out if we are progressing in the right direction. So thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the confirmation. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And then we pronounce.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your wonderful discussion, Prabhu. Actually, the one point, actually, you said we will pray for the Guru Maharaj for his health, the health improvement. So actually, it is in my mind, it is running. Should we pray for Guru Maharaj for the improvement, or because you said that because in the like this is like a toilet, we should come and we should finish our work and go. It's the material world is the Dukhalayam. So how it, can you please tell me for, because
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for that, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I will say, in material life and even in a spiritual life, a lot of time we use a word called should. And when you asked the question, you said, should we do it? And a lot of people will say, should we do this? Should we not do that? For example, my name, VP Govinda Dasa, right? Should I use VP as the acronym, or I should use the full name? I gave the example of His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj Ji. If you see all his channels, he's called Keshav Maharaj Ji, and is Swayam Bhagwan. They are initials SB. I actually went back to Guru Maharaj Ji. Now, the question is, should we do that or should we not do that? I went to Guru Maharaj Ji and I said, think of me, my audacity, how bad, how fallen I could be. But if one thing, I try to be honest. So I went back to Guru Maharaj Ji and I said, and in front of a lot of devotees, I said, Guru Maharaj Ji, thank you so much. And I'm paraphrasing, I didn't say that. But I said, Guru Maharaj Ji, thank you so much. You have given me initiated name, but I don't like it. And of course, and devotees knew, other devotees who were close to me, and they all said, no, you should not say that. You should not think that. You should not feel that. And I said, I know, I agree. But the truth is, I don't like it. That's the truth. Most of the time, because my karmic name is Varun, most of the time, and the initiated name is Varuna Pati Govinda Das, most of the time, those at Manor who knew me, they will just call me Varun or Varuna or Varuna Pati. But the whole idea of initiated name is to take the name of the Lord, which is Govinda. So I went back and I said the same thing to Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, thank you so much. You have initiated. I feel blessed, but could we do something with this name? Can I shorten? So I didn't just gave Guru Maharaj the problem I have. I tried to give the solution as well at the same time. And trust me, I was so much ready to get chastised that Guru Maharaj will say, you know, because all other devotees, not a single person supported me, not a single person. And still till today, if you think about it, people will not go for, like Prabhuji, previous Prabhuji did say Govinda, but most of the devotees, they will start with Varunapati Govinda Das, but will end up with Varunapati at the end. And it happens, it's natural, I understand. So I was ready that Guru Maharaj will say a lot and might just say that I will take your name away and all, because you don't feel the significance. But this is the beauty, the reason he is Guru. He might have realized that I'm not at that level to feel it. And when he said, of course you can. I said, well, can I use VP Govinda Das instead of full name Varunapati Govinda Das? And his answer was, of course you can. And not only that, after that he said, Srila Prabhupada used it. Srila Prabhupada, we always say AC Bhakti Vedanta. So he did AC, you can do VP. End of the story. Thank you so much. So coming back to your question, Prabhuji, should you do that? Prabhuji, my humble request, a lot of devotees will say should, but the relationship, your relationship with Krishna, my relationship with Krishna, with the Lord, is very personal. I am nobody to tell you what you should do when you interact with Lord Krishna. If you feel it, do it. If you don't feel it, don't just do it because you should do it. I mean, of course, doing chanting is different. It's like this happened in Mathura Desh, in Muscat. Fake it until you make it. And sometimes it works. In public speaking, it works. And even in chanting, sometimes it works. But when it's expressing your feelings, then should you do it? Prabhuji, it's up to you. I won't, as I said, you will find the arguments to support both sides. If you really, really think, you feel that it's better for your Guru Maharaj Ji to stay in material world to deliver you, then go for it. But if you think that Guru Maharaj Ji has given enough to me, and now I think I should let go. Now, this is where the spiritual comes in. It's a spiritual to get attached to devotees. Well, is the underlying spiritual or material? I'll give you another example. Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj and I think Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji. So Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji, who is very famous on YouTube's and at Juhu temple. So Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji, just to give the background if you don't know, Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji is the classmate of His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Ji Maharaj. who is amazing. So Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji said to Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj that he's my classmate. I know he's a Maharaj, but he's my classmate and you're sending him away now. Please, if he will go away, my spirituality will fall down. I can't practice. I need him. What Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj said to him, to Anand Vihari Prabhuji, Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji, that there was a time you had his association, like Bhakti Rasamrit Swamiji Maharaj's association, but it's time you let it go. You let him go. You got his association. Now the time is you provide association to others. So Prabhuji, sooner or later, I think we will have to let other devotees and others will go. We should always keep ourselves in devotees association, but always to get or maybe sometime to give is up to us. So Prabhuji, I won't be able to say that should you do that or should you not do that, or hopefully what I said might have made your mind a bit more clear. It's very personal thing, Prabhuji. But of course, there are many senior devotees here. If anybody else would like to clarify, but that's what my stand is, Prabhuji. If I feel like it, especially in spiritual, in material we pretend a lot of things, but especially in spiritual, like in Bhagavad Gita, the Vaishnav etiquettes and the qualities we develop, one of the first one, I think the first one is abhyam, is fearlessness. And it's like what you feel, I think that's what you practice, Prabhuji. But other devotees, if anybody else would like to, please add to it, clarify it, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just I would like to add one point to what you mentioned. As senior devotees always say that, like what Prabhu is also question, should we do this? Should we pray for Guru Maharaj's improvement of health so that he can continue in this material for some more time? So always there is a rider to this, that it is not that just we are straight away praying, but always a rider that, my Lord, if you think so, if you wish so, whether it is for us or for others, because we always, as you rightly mentioned, VP Govinda Prabhu, that we may, any spiritual desires may also have a tinge of material coating to that. We don't know that, we may not be realizing, but most of it will be there. So whatever we pray, whether for ourselves or for others, it's always best to add this rider, because we may not be knowing 100% correctly, but Lord knows what is right, what is good for us, good for because Lord's plan to keep Guru Maharaj in this material world for some more time are different. That we don't have to interfere or try to disturb his plans. So if you wish, if my Lord, if you wish so please, this is my prayer. So this always this is what I heard from many senior devotees, that add this rider and leave it to the Lord. So we are praying the Lord, this is what we want, but it's up to you. If you think it is good, please do it. And number two is, when we have any such doubt in our one, always best is to approach the senior devotees or Shiksha Gurus to clarify. So just wanted to add this to both. Thank you very much for your class and nice clarification.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. And yes, yeah, indeed. I think very famously, we always at the end added. And again, no need to judge anyone else. So we know ourselves, as you said, whether the material tinge is there or not. One thing, Prabhuji, I have heard, and I really loved it, and I'm trying to think where and from whom, but of course in devotee congregation, that I think I read it in a book. And maybe there is a book which is there in the bookshelf in London. I got it from Paris Temple, from the temple president. And the book is on Guru, Siksha Guru, the name of the book is Shiksha Guru. And of course, it explains a bit more about Shiksha Gurus. We were discussing something, so he said, oh, this book will be really good, you will enjoy. And I did. One of the things, I think it's there in the book. And in very different forms, I have heard and read somewhere else as well. But the gist is, in my words, well, it says by someone else that if we are requesting something from the Lord, so when we pray, like in Shri Ishopanishad, the last 4 verses are about prayers. When we pray, we express our gratitude. Thank you so much, Lord, you have already given us that much. I'm so sorry that you are helping, but I'm still fallen. And I'm trying my best. So 2 things. One is the gratitude. Thank you so much. You have given me everything, whether material or spiritual. And then so sorry that despite the fact that you are helping me, I'm still fallen. The 2 things happen in the prayers. The 3rd thing, if we do, that we request something. If we request something, then the author said that are we telling the Lord that, Lord, you don't know what's good for me, hence I'm telling you. Because we always say Lord knows the best. So whether, for example, whether the devotee, the Guru Maharaj or any of the senior devotees should stay with us or not. So we say, please, 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 could I be in that devotees association? So what are we saying to the Lord? Why are we asking anything from the Lord if we have the trust and faith that Lord already knows what's best for us? If it's best for us that the Guru Maharaji will stay with us, other devotees will stay with us, if we stay in this place or that place, in this job or that job. So that is very interesting, that with that thinking, maybe we can never ask anything from the Lord ever again, because it's like telling Lord, if you wish so. Well, Lord already knows, and Lord is already doing what Lord is wishes from. So like what Prabhuji said, that I think whether we accept or not, whether we know it or not, whether we are aware of not, most of the time, all these spiritual desires we think of being in material, because we are mostly material, the tinge of that we consider spiritual, but tinge of that materialism is already there with us. So if we ask from something from the Lord, it's like suggesting to the Lord, please, you might not know, you forgot, but this is best for me. Could you please do this for me? So I think if you have faith in Lord, we might not be able to. Lord is doing what's perfect. Lord is doing what's best for me, whether we think it's good for me or not. But I think if we have that faith, then we will all, and that's the reason I think sages and the saints, they and the Guru Maharaj and His Holiness, they all are so peaceful. So because whatever happens, they accept and they never ask. So that's just one of those things comes to mind. But thank you so much, Prabhuji, for adding that. Yes, as it pleases you, Lord, and if you wish, we always say that. This is very renowned, and we usually do that. Thank you so much. And Nitya Narasimha Prabhuji ki jai. Prabhuji has given his darshan. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you're great. Not only you do the service of allocating the slots, but you keep reminding, which is awesome. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Govindas Prabhuji. Thanks a lot for the amazing class. Prabhuji, isn't it the wisdom to know that we are ignorant jivas? We don't know what is good for us, Isn't it the wisdom to know the difference?
Yes. Yes, that's right, Mataji. We might be wise enough or we might not be wise enough. You're right.
So let's always chant and leave everything to God to decide what is good for us, As
Yes.
our body, our soul, everything belongs to Him. Each and every, whatever it is there with us everything is His. He's the, what to say, what I feel is that we should leave everything to Him to decide what is good for us.
Very true. Very true, Mataji. Completely agree with you. We do our endeavors, we do the endurance, we try to sustain, but at the end, it's the Lord. Again, Shri Ishopanishad, the last verse, it says that doesn't really matter how much we do, we cannot claim Lord. We can only request Lord to reveal Himself, and maybe Lord will do. It's a mercy. So you're right. We keep doing whatever we can, and then leave the rest on to the Lord. And completely agree with you, Mataji. Thank you so much for bringing that point.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Shri.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Hare Hare. Thank you so much. Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Govinda.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you,
Dandavat
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
for your lecturing class. Prabhuji, just you mentioned that the 7 habits will help his spiritually progress also. Could you briefly explain what are that, if time permits?
Right. Great. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so sorry. Maybe the way I said it. So there is a book by Stephen King, I think. He wrote 7 effective habits, but that's material. So what I was thinking that we should have, we don't, well, at least I'm not aware, but I was suggesting we should have it. Maybe that could be the next book Ramanand Kanai Prabhuji will author. 7 effective habits for spiritual life. But we all as a group, Chaitanya Charitamrta study class, we could come up with those. Or maybe we pick that up a small project. And this is one of our teacher yesterday in Bhakti Vedanta class suggested that we should pick these little projects. So sorry, Prabhuji, I don't have those 7 effective, but we should.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful session today. And it was very, very informative and interactive session also towards end where we had nice question answer session. So thank you once again for taking your time. I know you are very, very busy, have a very busy schedule of traveling between UK and Sanatan Dham.
Yes.
Hope you settle down nicely there with the family. So thanks once again. So thank you all the devotees for attending today's session of Prabhuji. We'll continue the session next week. Prabhuji, please conclude the session so that we can end the session here.